So this morning, I'm thrilled to be able to talk to Tim Henman, who needs no introduction to all of you, but I thought it'd be great to have a chat with you, Tim, with Wimbledon just around the corner. Tim, first of all, do you miss professional tennis?
Myself sort of playing, no, I don't miss it. I miss the final 1%. Let me rephrase that. The final 1% of going out on centre court, as a British player, with the support that I had, I think it's inevitable that you're going to miss that. That's sort of irreplaceable. The other 99%, the tournaments, the training, the travel, the discipline, I don't miss it in the slightest. It was, the only thing I ever wanted to do, and I started playing when I was 3. At 6, my mum took me to Wimbledon for the first time, and that was when I made my one and only career decision. And then, I played until I was 33 and loved every minute of it. But no, I definitely don't miss it anymore.
No. And you were British #1 in 96, 99 and 2005, I think. Is that right? I think that's right.
Yeah, pretty much between 96 and 2005.
Yes. And so what would you say was your highlight for you?
It's difficult just to sort of put it down to one highlight. Wimbledon's always going to be so special because, I grew up watching the tournaments and it was my dream to play there. It was my dream to win there. So, I had some amazing experiences. 96 was the first time that I played on centre court, and I beat Kafelnikov, who was the French Open champion. To be in 4 semi-finals was amazing. I beat Federer at Wimbledon in 2001. But also, Wimbledon was probably some of my biggest highs, but also some of my biggest disappointments. Lots of amazing memories. I think the Olympics, to win, Olympic silver in Atlanta was something that was very unexpected. I didn't grow up really thinking I played tennis in the Olympics. And then, to sort of spend most of my career, in the top 10, top 20 in the world and win Masters 1000 in Paris was probably the best tennis I ever played. So, and then, to have a highest ranking of 4 in the world. Those are probably, sort of in a nutshell, my best and favourite achievements.
Yeah. So many achievements there. It's amazing. So you came from a family of great tennis players. Are your children, do you think, going to carry on this tennis dynasty?
I think very unlikely. My girls all play and they all enjoy the game, and they play at school, and we're lucky enough to have a court at home. So, they play, in the summer a bit, but, and they're very active. They play all sports.
Yes.
2 of them have played lacrosse. Actually, all 3 of them have played lacrosse. They play hockey. They play netball. So yeah, they're very fit and active, but none of them really have aspirations to be, professional tennis players. And if I'm honest, I'm sort of quite happy with that. I'm slightly relieved. I just think it would be. I think in this country they probably got the wrong surname to play tennis. I think there'd be a lot of pressure and expectation that goes with that. So I love the fact that they enjoy the game, but I'm sort of quite relieved that they don't want to pursue it.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. Such huge commitment as well, and pressure.
Yeah, it is. I think that's the hard thing about tennis is you really do need to specialise at a young age. So it's a big commitment for everyone.
Yeah. So moving on to professional tennis today, we've obviously got Wimbledon just around the corner. Who do you think has a chance to really shine this year? Who perhaps might not have sort of shone yet?
Well, yeah. So on the women's side, Iga Swiatek is world #1. She's probably not so well known in the UK, but the way she's playing and it's been phenomenal. she's won, I think she won 29 matches in a row at the moment. She's so, excuse me, just so focused, got a great team around her. And I think she can play really well on grass. The obvious one is going to be Emma Raducanu, and you know, the way that she has, you know, really, you know, come onto the tennis scene in the last 12 months has just been absolutely incredible. And I think, you know, grass is a good surface for her, so it would be amazing if she could, you know, have a good run at Wimbledon. You know, on the men's side, Djokovic is defending champion. You know, Nadal has already won a Grand Slam this year. It'd be great to see, you know, if they could play one more time at Wimbledon. But you're always looking for some, you know, British stories, and you know, Andy Murray's looking really strong again after his hip surgery. Jack Draper is just outside the top 100 and is really making big strides. He's definitely someone that the British public will see a lot more of in the next few years. So there's always lots of great stories, and it's my, you know, favourite time of year, and look forward to it this year.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So am I. Can't wait to watch.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on the ranking points being removed this year? Do you think?
Yeah, it's been. I sit on the board at Wimbledon, so you know, I've been involved with that whole decision process, and it's been, you know, incredibly challenging. And you know, first and foremost, you know, we all hope this horrific war, you know, stops sometime soon. But you know, when you actually analyse the situation that Wimbledon is in, you know, in theory there were three options, and the three options were all horrible. So yeah. It's no fun being in a position like that, with the Russian and Belarusian players not invited. You know, I do feel sympathy for them, but you know, and so the knock-on effects from that, the tours are not happy about the decision that Wimbledon have made, and therefore, you know, they've taken the ranking points away, as is at the moment. But you know, there are no winners in that situation as well, because you know, you're penalising the other 95% of players that can play at Wimbledon. So yeah, it's just such a difficult and unfortunate situation.
Very tricky. I mean, I guess though, Wimbledon is Wimbledon, and it probably doesn't, I don't know, is it right to say a lot of players, it's not going to matter to them quite so much? I mean, I know Djokovic, it's going to affect, isn't it? Hugely.
Well,
but,
you know, this is the you know, this is the conversation, and it's all sort of being fueled by the media at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end of the day, you know, the clue's in the name. It's a Grand Slam. It's the tournament with the most history and tradition. And you know, if you're the one that's holding the trophy at the end of the tournament, I'm pretty sure it's not going to have an asterisk next to it saying, "But there were no ranking points."
No.
You know, you're going to go down as you know, a great champion. And you know, as Martina Navratilova said, it's never been about the points or the money. It's about you know, trying to become a part of history. And so no, I don't have any reservations about that.
No. And moving on to British number one, Emma Raducanu, do you think she's in better shape mentally now than going into Wimbledon this year?
Well, she's got 12 months of experience under her belt, and it's been you know, it's been a pretty amazing ride. With when you consider this time last year she was sitting her A levels, and you know, she had played so little tennis. I think she was only playing a couple of times a week during lockdown and studying for her exams. So you know, she played very well on the grass, and then what she did in you know, in America on the hard courts was unprecedented. You know, no one in our sport in the you know, in the open era had ever qualified and made the final of a Grand Slam, let alone winning it. So yeah, she's had to make, you know, huge adjustments and get used to you know, everything that goes with winning one of the biggest titles in our sport. And I think she's doing incredibly well. You know, it's very easy for people, you know, to be impatient, but it's all part of a learning curve. She's got lots of areas that she can improve on, which makes it so exciting, because if she's this good, already, once she, really targets a few different areas, then, there's no doubt in my mind that she can win, many more big tournaments.
Yeah, well, she'll certainly have everyone behind her.
Definitely.
What was your involvement with Emma before the US Open? Are you still involved?
No, I'm so in when she was in New York, she was working with her coach was Andrew Richardson, and he was best man at my wedding.
Okay.
So we've grown up, from the age of 11, playing tennis together. So he's someone I knew extremely well. So yeah, I was sort of able to, spend a bit of time with them in New York, and sort of pass on some of my experiences. And Emma's an IMG client, and IMG have managed me for the last 27 years or whatever it is. No, I'm sort of, there as a supporter, but if she ever needs any advice, she knows where to find me. And she's a great girl. She's got great values. She's extremely hardworking. She's very bright. She speaks well, and she's a very, very good tennis player. So it's going to be a fun journey in the future.
She's got it all going for her, hasn't she? So she's swapped coaches a fair amount in the last 12 months. Do you think continuity, I don't know, do you think it's good to swap? Is it better to stick, in the ideal world, stick with one coach, or can you sort of take bits from, I don't know?
Yeah, look, first and foremost, player-coach relationships is horses for courses. And Emma has chopped and changed. I think she will, find some continuity in the future. But, right now, she's in such a good place mentally. She's enjoying her tennis. She's a student of the game. She's got people around her that can help and give her support. I think she will, find a coach and stick with a coach in the future. When that will be, no one knows. But, I think first and foremost, she's really sort of settled. I think after US Open, she found it very difficult. Her world had certainly been turned upside down with all the attention. So now, having seen her play on the clay, where she, had a lot of, really good results, having never really played on clay before, I think moving into the grass, she will be, much more comfortable playing at home. She'll have great support. So no rush on that front.
No. So Laura Robson has just retired from professional tennis with injuries, and Emma's been injured at times and pulled out of tournaments. Do you think that these guys are pushed too young?
Not necessarily. I mean, again, it's when you talk about your fitness training, a lot of that is around getting fitter, stronger, faster. But there is a big piece around injury prevention, and that's massively important, because if you're not 100% fit, you're not going to be able to compete, because the standard is that high.
Yeah.
Someone like Laura, I've known Laura for a long, long time, and it's very unfortunate the challenges she had around her hip surgeries, and so much so that she has had to retire. No one likes to see that. So making sure that you take care of that physical preparation is very, very important. And but on the whole, I think it's something that we have a lot more expertise now in strength and conditioning and everything that goes with it. So hopefully you're not going to see people getting injured.
No. And do you think the age limit should be increased for majors, or?
No, I mean, it's I on the women's tour, I can't actually remember the finer details of how many events they're allowed to play at different ages. But again, that is few and far between how many the women are that good at that age. So, you know, the protection is there for their benefit, and I think that's a really good thing. You know, on the men's, when you see someone like Alcaraz, who won in Miami when he was still 18, I mean, it's phenomenal that you can play at that level at such a young age.
Yeah.
But the only way you can play at that level is if you are, you know, extremely well developed physically, and his athletic ability is amazing. So yeah, no, I think the game, the sport from that point of view is in good shape.
Yeah. And what sort of support is there out there in tennis for players who are retiring, or even, you know, have to retire much earlier than planned? Because it's difficult, isn't it, for them?
Yeah, it is. I mean, what sort of support is there? You know, I'm not sure.
There need to be more, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you know, you're a sole practitioner. You're, you know, when you're a tennis player, you're, you know, you don't work for a company. You're out there, and so, you know, you've got to make the most of it. So, you know, there are probably other opportunities within the sport. You know, I've very much enjoyed, you know, being involved at Wimbledon. You know, working in the media. I still work with HSBC, and who sponsored me when I was playing, and you know, and Vodafone and Rolex. So I'm very lucky from that point of view. But I think that's probably reflective of, you know, the country that I live in, and the opportunities there. So but yeah, you know, there probably could be a little bit more support, but again, it's quite difficult, you know, for a self-employed person.
Yes.
When you finished your job, who are you looking to for that support? You know, it's a difficult one.
How did you cope mentally with retirement? Did you find it tough to start?
No.
You were
no, it was
pleased to get out.
It was the right time. I mean, I was 33. We just had our third child, and, you know, I was probably still ranked 30 in the world, or 30 or 40, but I felt my game was just starting to, you know, stagnate, and I'd always been traveling around, you know, turning up to tournaments to win tournaments, and I felt just at that stage I was starting to make up the numbers, and you know, my schedule, it really just worked perfectly. That my last event was Davis Cup at Wimbledon, and you know, we played a world group qualifying match, and I won my singles on the Friday. I played doubles with Jamie Murray on the Saturday, and we won, and the tie was 1-3 love. So it couldn't have been better. And I remember, you know, about a year later, someone sort of asking me, you know, how was I finding retirement? Was I okay? And sort of was a bit worried. And I sort of replied by saying, you know, if I knew retirement was this good, I would have stopped 5 years ago. So, no, I've loved it. And I think, and also as well, I can understand that if you don't have different things in your life to try and fill that void of professional tennis, then it can be hard. But I've got so many other, you know, interests and involvements, and, you know, first and foremost with my wife and 3 children, and you know, I really enjoy my golf. I still work with, you know, as I said, HSBC and Vodafone and Rolex, and you know, I'm on the board at Wimbledon. I'm involved in the game, doing the media stuff. So lots going on. Yeah.
I expect your wife was very pleased when you retired.
Well,
children, perhaps.
She'll have to answer that one.
And with funding, why are there not more British players coming through, or why have there not been more over the years? Do you think the fact that tennis in the UK is quite often a middle-class sport, perhaps, we don't have the hunger and desire that other nations and players have?
I think one of the biggest challenges is around accessibility, and given our climate, you know, you really need indoor courts, and, you know, indoor courts are not cheap, and you know, tennis is always quite a difficult sport for schools because it's an individual sport. It takes up quite a lot of space. You know, it's a lot easier to have, you know, 22 people playing cricket or 22 people playing hockey. And the reality is we have an enormous pool of talent in this country. We've seen our results in the Olympics in, you know, whether it was Beijing or Rio or London. You know, we've got phenomenal athletes, both men and women. So the challenge for tennis is to get some of those youngsters who have that natural talent to play tennis.
Yeah.
You know, we all know in schools it's the same children that make up the sports teams because they're the ones with the hand-eye coordination, the athletic ability.
Yeah.
So if the game is inaccessible, then we'll lose all those naturally gifted athletes to the other sports. And then, you know, the harsh reality is perhaps the ones that end up playing tennis, you know, don't have that natural gift. But I think that's changing. I think Scott Lloyd, who is in charge at the LTA, is a good friend of mine. I was on his dad's academy when I was known Scott since then with a Sage, and now you look at you know, some of the players coming through. We definitely got better players, you know, and role models. You know, with what Andy Murray's done. You've got Raducanu, Jack Draper, you've got Cam Norrie, Dan Evans. You know, there's a lot of good stories out there, and I think that's very positive for the game.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's very exciting, and we're all very much looking forward to Wimbledon.
Definitely.
Tim, thank you so much. For
Sander, it's a pleasure.
It's really, really kind.
No problem at all, and hopefully catch up at some time.